Hello. So I just made a few shorts, but I wanted to come and take some time to just dive a little bit more into this issue. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or want to say something, please feel free to leave that down in the comment section. So what I want to talk about today, I made a few shorts about, one, I want to know why the heck do people keep coming online talking about they hate their kids and how much they don't want their children. And, this whole Reddit post, people are making whole video series about these things. And I understand that a lot of people come online these days and just flat out lie for sympathy, for whatever reason, to make themselves feel better. To feel justified in whatever those feelings are, regardless of if they're positive or negative. I understand that. However, like I stated in that video, why do people feel so comfortable coming online talking about how much they don't want their children, they regret having their children, as if their children are not people, and as if their children won't grow up or not, or possibly even now seeing it? What in the world are we doing when we talk that mess online? There is nothing like, I understand, because what I was about to create another short, but I said, no, let me just make it a longer video because I know I was about to go over that 3 minutes, was that we have to start understanding that we're not missing out on nothing because we became parents. I think that just like with everything, like with these screens, like, people just feel like they're missing out on something. You come online and you see people living certain types of lifestyles. You see single women with no children, and you think they live in some glamorous lifestyle when truth be told, half those women, even though they may be coming online trying to brag and feeling like they're bragging about the fact they don't have children and they get all this quote unquote freedom, low key, I wouldn't be surprised if half those women, if the money was right, if the dude was right, if things was right, they was married, they didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff. I would bet money that a lot of those women would change their mind. I would bet money on that. I would put money on that. Same thing with some of these dudes. If a dude met the right woman at the right time, financially, it's not a struggle. There's no issues. A lot of people would be having children. No questions asked. No regret in their heart. I think some of the regret is coming from a lot of people, y'all coming online too much and people telling you because you had a baby out of wedlock, because maybe you got 2 and 3 kids by 2 or 3 different dudes or 2 or 3 different women. People are making you feel ashamed of the decisions you had to make at whatever point in your life. And I think that's a part of the problem. If you made a decision where you had a couple of babies by a couple of different people, who the fuck am I to judge in the first place? Who am I to judge? Because truth be told, a lot of people that are judging, you don't really know their life. How you know that person is sitting there like legit trying to judge you, they ain't in the same boat as you are. They just ain't as public about their struggle. How can we say what if some of those people got done had 3-4 different abortions by 3-4 different people, or made women get abortions and they just not saying nothing, but they out here trying to shame you? That's the problem that I think that I have with a lot of this internet streets. Is people keep talking about we need to bring back shame, but it's just like you only want to bring back the shame for the people that's willing to be bold enough to put their business out here on the streets. We're not talking about shaming you because you're gonna get judged, so you don't put your business out here like that. But all that to say is, as parents, we have to realize, one, we're not missing out on anything because we have children, and we can't just be all out here willy-nilly. I go out with people that don't have children, or some of them do have children, and they be out here a lot more than me, and I just be sitting up there thinking, as a child, I don't know what I would be thinking to myself if my parents was always gone. It's the weekend. It's the only real time we get to spend with each other, and you stay out the house away from me. And again, I don't think that people are really considering what some of this stuff is going to do to these children. And it's that's the messed up part, because every time, it's so ass backwards to me. We come on here and talk about we got to break generational curses, and we got to do this. We got to do this as black people, and we got to do this, and we got to do this as people, and blah, 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 blah. But when we think about how are these things affecting the children, it seems like we're not thinking about it at all. All we could think about is, I want to make sure that my child got some money when I leave, or make sure they got some money. Who gives a fuck if they got money if they mind not right? That's what I think that's the biggest issue that I continue to have, is like, we keep trying to make sure that certain things is right without making sure our minds is right, without making sure our hearts is right. Because regardless of whatever it is going on, regardless of whether you have children and you regret it or not, if your mind ain't right, how you deal with that gonna be fucked up, or it's not gonna be fucked up. If you choose to see that, okay, say for example, I'm gonna throw out a scenario right now. I'm a woman, I got a baby, my child's father's not around, I'm 22, I see all my friends, they at college, they if they not in college, they just always out, they working, they able to work full-time jobs, they able to work a couple of jobs, they always seem like they got money, they always seem like they going here, they going there, and here I am at home feeling stuck with a baby. One young lady, you have to be accountable for your decisions. You made that choice. Nobody but you. Yes, it takes two to tango, and you did not, that man ejaculated in you, and whatever. However, you made that choice, and you do not have a right to treat that child any old kind of way because of the choices that you made. Now, I understand that because you're young, you're going to make a lot of mistakes in your parenting, right? That's inevitable. Even people that's older make mistakes in their parenting, because let's be real, a lot of us wasn't parented. This is why a lot of us have a lot of issues now, because we're realizing we have to teach ourselves how to be adults. We have to go back in and do that internal work to remother ourselves, to refather ourselves, to reparent ourselves. And I think that's the sad part about this reality, is that a lot of people aren't realizing that that's exactly what needs to be done. And instead of doing that, you want to be mad about the fact that you have a child. You want to be angered by the fact that your friends get to do things that you don't get to do. And in reality, none of that fucking matters, because now your primary job is to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your child. And in order to take care of yourself, you got to be real about why you in the situation that you're in, and not have regrets about the situation that you're in. Because if you're having regrets about it, that means you're going to always feel like you're missing out on something. You're going to always feel like you should be doing something else. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get angry at those children or that child. It's going to be a lot easier for you to want to be like, F it, I'm just going to still do whatever I want to do. Meantime, between time, your children are out there suffering. Like, I know way too many girls, especially before I had children, I would be going out and stuff. I'm out. I ain't got no babies. I ain't got nothing to do. Whatever. Who cares? So I go out. How you coming out with me and you got a whole baby that got to go to school in the morning? Like, I remember I used to go out right after I got out of college. I would go to this little club called Sangria on Wednesdays, and I don't know how many girls I sent in there with children. I know they got kids, because some of them came with me, and I'm something like, how are you out here like this? Don't you got to work in the morning? I wasn't working at the time. No, now mind you, why am I going out when I ain't got no money and I'm not working? I don't know. But I was young, and I was child free, and money was not really that big of an issue, because, I was young, whatever. But again, I can understand why that can make you feel like you're missing out on something. But at the same time, that's why I'm making this video, is because I just really want people to realize, like, there's really nothing that you're missing out on. If you choose to adapt the mentality that you're exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, there's no way in hell that you should have regrets or guilt or shame about the things that you do. If you feel those things, there might be legitimate reasons for those feelings, but what you do not have to do is continue on to kind of dwell in those feelings, or try to make those feelings come out in other areas of your life, which is what you do when you come online or write some post or try to tell people about how much you don't like your child, about how much you regret having your child. Now, and like I said, I'm not guilt-free. I know I probably said some things that's probably god-awful, and thank God I'm smart enough never to put it on the internet. So if my daughter would never find out anything bad that I say about her, because one, I'm not saying it. And if I did say it, I'm smart enough not to put it online, to put it in writing, or put it somewhere that I know that she have access to, because I understand how that might put a little twinge in her heart. And it's not my job to be sitting around trying to figure out how to break my child's heart because I'm upset about decisions that I made. I think as parents, we need to start realizing that our children are children. They are children. Our roles is to be parents. Their roles is to be children. So their role is to test. Their role is to ask questions. Their role is to act out. Their role is to figure out what's what, because they don't know. They are a new human being. And it's our job to teach them right or wrong, and maybe we don't know what right or wrong is. And again, maybe that's a part of the self-growth that needs to happen as a result of you becoming a parent. What can I do? What can I say? What can I feel? To make me start understanding what's going on with me so that I can even understand why I'm willing to talk to my child like that. Anytime I see a woman out here on these streets, and no, it's not just black women that I've heard talk like this. Come bring your ass over here. Sit your ass down and da-da-da-da, cussing at their children like they children or the fucking dog or something. And I'm just sitting there looking at it. Sometimes I'm with my daughter and I'm like, Leah, how would you feel if I talked to you like that? And she look at me and say, bad. And I'm like, I bet you will, because I feel bad for those children. They got to hear that. And if your mama wasn't to talk to you like that in public, God knows what she talking to you like in the house. So I feel tears welling up in my eyes because I have the sympathy and the hurt that I be feeling for some of them kids when I hear their parents talk like that is absolutely absurd. Because it's absurd that people are really out here talking to the kids like that. See, I'm crying. Now y'all got me crying. Because as much as I've been mad at my child, there's no way that I would ever I would talk to my child like that. Because there's why? You're not an animal. You're a human being. And it's not your fault that I don't know how to handle my emotions so that I don't have to talk to you like that. That's a quick part for the children and even for the adults, because maybe your parents was the one talking to you like you was crazy and you internalized it and thought that that's just how we were supposed to be. No, it's not. If we talking about breaking cycles, how about we start talking about breaking something besides just some financial cycle? What about the mental illness cycle that we're so addicted to? How about we start trying to break that? How about we break that? How about we break the cycle of anxiety? Break the cycle of depression? How about we break that? How about we do that? How about we start teaching our children, teaching ourselves, because clearly our parents didn't teach us. So how about we start teaching ourselves what it looks like to actually be mentally healthy, and not based off what you think somebody else's mental health is, but based off yours. How are you living your life? How are you staying true to yourself? And yeah, that's all I really. Let me think about this a little bit more. I don't really know what much else to say, because again, to me, I just want people to start realizing, you don't have to feel like that. It's a choice. And once you feel, and you can feel, let me rephrase that, because honestly speaking, you can feel whatever you want to feel, right? Feel however you want to feel. It's not for me to say how you feel is right or wrong. Hell, it's not even for you to say how you feel is right or wrong. What is supposed to happen, as far as I'm concerned, or what I find, is really working for me, is when I start to ask myself questions about why I feel like that. And what can I do to change my thought process so that thought is not the automatic thought that comes to mind when XYZ situation happens. Like, say, for example, my daughter, she say, Mom, can I play on my tablet? I don't know. Let me go check on your room. And she know her room is dirty and she decided to get mad. Now, do I have to go there and get right back and get mad with her? No. Have I did that before? Yeah. Was it right or wrong? Maybe not. It was a learning lesson though, because what I learned was, hey, if I expect certain things, I need to start having that conversation with my child. So when expectations aren't being met and now there's consequences. So rewind. That conversation has to be had with my child. A conversation about what's expected and what's the consequences of what's the consequence or what's going to happen when that expectation is not met. That conversation needs to be had. So therefore, when my daughter decides, hey, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z, okay, that's cool. We already talked about what your consequence was going to be. So now when that consequence is reinforced, you can be mad if you want to, and your feelings are not right or wrong. But at the end of the day, we had an agreement that this was going to happen and this was how it was going to happen. And you chose to broke it. You chose to not to follow through. That's no longer in my pool of, I need to be angry about this. It's not there anymore, because we talked about this already. Why do I have to be angry about something that we talked about? We talked about it. You're not holding up to your end of the deal. So that means I'm not holding up my end of the deal. Now, once you can hold up yours again, we'll throw these rights and privileges right back in there. But again, that comes with understanding that, hey, again, is it right or wrong to yell at your child or do certain things? Not necessarily, especially if learning lessons are coming out of it. When learning lessons comes out of it, there's nothing wrong about anything that happens, if you ask me. If I'm learning something, was it messed up? Sure, why not? But I learned something. And I thought that's one of my jobs. I thought that was one of my jobs when I think about why I'm here on this planet. One of my jobs is to learn. So if I'm having experiences that's teaching me how to calm down, how to be a more calm person, if I'm learning how to set boundaries and speak what my boundaries are, and have people understand, if you cross my boundaries, then access to me might change. There's nothing wrong with that. If I felt shitty because somebody crossed the boundary and I learned that I need to make sure my boundaries are heard, make sure they're known, then what's really bad about that situation? But anyway, like I said, this video is mostly just about, as parents, we have to start realizing that it is not our job. Sometimes some of this stuff is just not our job. As a parent, our emotions have to start being more in check. And just because nobody taught you is no longer and cannot be excuses. It can't be an excuse over and over again. It can't, because there's too many books out there. There's too many videos out there. There's one lady that I bought a bunch of her books called Nicolene Peck. Love her. Look her up. She don't get enough views on this website, if you ask me, especially given that a lot of y'all people got all these issues because y'all was children not being raised right. And now you got children and you're not raising them right. And not to even say you're not raising them right, because there's no really right or wrong way to raise anybody. To me, I think it's just, we have to understand what's really working for us as individuals and what's not going to work for us as individuals. And what you're doing, if what you're doing is not in alignment, it's going to show. When your children out here acting up, misbehaving, that misalignment is showing itself. And your job is not to keep getting mad at the children about the misalignment, but start to take personal inventory so that you understand that some of that might be coming from you, and it's your job to fix that. Because once you fix you, whatever's going on with them children probably will fix itself. Okay? All right. That's all I got to say. Bye. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.